We know that a pregnancy begins when the sperm meets the egg, and that usually occurs in the fallopian tubes after ovulation. But do we know when that happens? Not exactly, but we can figure out an estimate based on dates. Here's how I do it. Alright, so I have my calendar open and I know the first day of my last period. Let's say it was January 1st for the sake of this example. I'm going to give you a few different scenarios of what might happen when you're trying to figure out if you are pregnant. So I have my last menstrual period circled, January 1st. I'm going to open up my phone and Google pregnancy calculator. There will be a whole list of them that come up. My favorite to use is the pregnancy calculator by the American Pregnancy Association. And they have no affiliation with me. I just like to use this particular website. And it's pretty simple to use. You fill in the first day of your last menstrual period. We're going to go back to January 1st. Select it and get the date. If you know how long your cycles are, you can adjust that, but for the sake of this example, I'm just going to say it's 28 days. Get the date. It's going to automatically happen. Oh, it's not moving. Here we go. Okay. So here we have some numbers. Estimated fertility window from January 11th through January 21st. That means at any point in between those dates, conception could have happened. So anywhere between January 11th and January 21st. Fertility window right there. So if you're planning a pregnancy, you can use this website to plan ahead to see when your best possible chances are to become pregnant. This gives an estimated conception date of January 16th. So this is the estimated conception date. Let's say you had intercourse on January 10th, January 13th, and January 18th. So here's the 10th, here's the 13th, here's the 18th. The closest day to your conception date is when you had intercourse on the 13th. Around this time, even after, because we're not 100% sure, is when you most likely conceived from this particular instance. Could you have conceived on the 10th? Is it possible that the sperm lasted that long until the egg was released? It's possible. It's less likely because it's a little farther away. Is it possible that you released an egg after this estimated conception date? Absolutely. So it could have happened here as well. But since you were with one man, that is who the father is, and that is when your possible conception occurred. So let's get rid of these dates and do another scenario. My last menstrual period is still the 1st. My estimated conception date is still the 16th, based on a 28-day cycle. My fertility window is still the 11th through the 21st. Now let's say I was with one man on January 2nd, but I was with someone else on January 13th. Now, knowing what I gave you from the first example, you should know that it's most likely the instance from the 13th that could have caused a pregnancy and caused the conception. Is it possible that you release an egg earlier? This is a little early, being that it's the first day. It would be within your period. It is possible, but the man you were with on the 13th is most likely the father, although a paternity test will be needed to verify that. Let's do another scenario. Still the 1st, last period, still the 16th conception date, 11th through 21st, possible fertility window. Again, this is based on this website. So let's say I was with a man on January 10th. I was also with a man on January 12th. Now this is when it starts to get a little iffy, because if you were to count, it is possible that sperm from both men can meet the egg around this time, especially if you end up ovulating earlier. And again, it depends on your cycle. This is all estimations based on your last period and using data. So is it possible for both men sperm to last until your egg drops? Yes. More likely it's the person who's closer to your estimated ovulation date, but in this case I would definitely recommend a paternity test. Another scenario, and I've seen this happen often. I get questions about this quite often. Someone was with a man on December 30th. So this would be the 30th. They were with a man here. Well, that's before the period. Then they were with a man on January 14th. Since you had a period after the first man, it's more likely that man number 2 would be the father. Okay? Another scenario is if you're with multiple people. Basically, you want to look for the dates that are in your fertility window. If it's anywhere in this fertility window and you are with different people, a paternity test is highly suggested. I highly suggest speaking with your doctor. So again, my last menstrual date, I have it circled. I plugged it into my pregnancy calculator. I adjusted for average length of cycles. I got my dates, my estimated fertility window, I marked on the calendar. My estimated conception date, I marked here. And then I plugged in any time of potential intercourse. That is how you find the possible estimated dates of conception.